If your ink's too slow and your nib won't flow, here's one of the places that you can go. Larry is here to see you through with Mr. Announcer and Cubby too. It's Larry's Fountain Pen Reviews.
Hey folks, welcome. Today's just going to be a pen hangout where we're going to talk about pens, ballpoints, roller balls, fountain pens, gel pens, pencils, mechanical pencils, inks, papers, notebooks, you name it. So, welcome everybody. Welcome to the jungle. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's have some fun. So today I'm going to let Mike from the Green Monster pens, custom pens, tell you what's going to be happening a little bit today. So Mike, why don't you kind of explain to him before I kind of mess it up?
Oh, okay. Well, at some point later in the meeting, we're going to have a live giveaway. Larry's got something he's going to give away, right, Larry? Actually, my suggestion is that the winner just gets to pick from Larry's stuff.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, maybe it won't quite work that way. Anyway, among all the people that are online at that moment, we will just do a random drawing of one of the people, and that person will win whatever object Larry has selected to give away. We'll do it that way.
And the real story behind it is really Mike that's doing the giveaway, and you can choose a nib. He said he just was in a good mood. And so that's what's going to happen. Isn't that right, Mike?
I thought that was Saturday.
Well, we're going to do it today. Forget Saturday. I'll take care of Saturday.
All right. So, okay. Well, then never mind. Now the object that Larry has selected will be any one of my pens. Okay? You can pick any of the pens I have in stock. And it really, anything I have in stock right now. And of course, then you can, as always, you can select the nib of your choice, the width and the finish. Now depending on the pen, we can look at it. It's either a Bach or a Yovo, so you have to pick among those nibs. But you get to pick a pen. There we go. So that's what's going to be given away momentarily to one of the people here. You have to be present to win. You cannot, you must be present. Does that sound good?
Sounds good.
Good to me.
All right.
Wonderful.
Okay,
so,
there we are.
Okay, so who wants to start it off with a favorite pen you like that you use a lot? That's not a high-end pen. Let's just say a lower-end pen, and we'll work our way up, low-end to medium and to high.
Okay.
Anyway. Dun, 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 dun.
I can start. This is Yochanan, Israel.
Okay, go ahead, bud.
Yeah, you can just call me Yo if Yochanan's too hard.
Yo, all right.
Okay.
So I just got this Jinhao 9056 natural wood, and man, I'm loving it. This is a low-end pen. I paid $17 for it and got it about 2 weeks ago. And yeah, I'm loving it. It's easy to use, smooth. This is a fine nib.
Fine nib.
Yeah, I don't know. Can you guys see this?
Oh, I can. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So beautiful.
What is the brand on that?
Jinhao.
Okay. Yeah, they're good pens. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. $17. It writes like one of my more expensive pens. So I'm loving it.
Jinhao's come out with the Jinhao X350, which is a new one for them. And they got the X450 and I believe 750 now, meaning larger nib. But I'm thinking that what they're meeting. So when they put that L on there, so yeah, I'm interested in checking those out. All right, who else will have to go next? Dun, dun, dun. Mark. Mark's so
Yes.
innocent there, not doing anything.
No one has
Go ahead,
ever
Mark,
called
take
me
it
innocent
away.
in my life. My favorite really inexpensive pen, I have two.
Yes,
I don't have it to hand. I have to go into another room. But I have a couple of pens that are about $1 from Russia called Sputnik pens. That, of course, I acquired long before the problems in Ukraine. But they work really well, and they cost about $1. They come with a converter. And then, of course, my absolute most favorite inexpensive pen is, without a doubt, the Jinhao Shark, particularly red Jinhao Sharks, because, you know, it's a fountain pen. It has a fin. It has gills. It has a menacing little, you know, mean expression on its face. And it looks like a fountain pen, a fish, and a vat of acrylic formed a throuple and had a love child. But it writes.
I like
it
to
costs
see.
$2. And it comes with a converter. Visconti, take notes. You could get a pen for $2 that writes. Awesome.
and they're what, by $7 or $8 now?
When I got mine, there were $2 with a converter.
Okay, $2. Okay. Yeah. Now, where'd you get yours?
I think I got mine from like AliExpress or
Okay.
Dream or some kind of you know, need a translator to order it service, but you know, worked out just fine. Hello, Mrs. Mosher.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey, Liz, how are you?
Hello, hello.
I'm good, thank you, Lettuce.
That's good. As usual, we're likely the only women here, right?
Well, right now, no, Liz is here, and is it Tina? What's her name? Tina or something. I forgot her name.
Tina's not here yet.
Yeah, she'll be here. She's gonna try. Yeah.
What's her name would get you in a lot of trouble in Deep South.
Don't call
Now,
somebody what's her name.
Janice is having some major internet problems. The weather is bad out there, so and she uses AOL. Like, isn't that right, Frank?
I think so.
All right. So who wants to go next? Dun 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 dun.
What's the question?
Me?
Ah.
Okay.
Go ahead. What, Landis?
I said, what is the question?
Well, first of all, we'll let Shan take it. It's going to be on a favorite pen that you like using on a low end pen.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sandy.
Does that include pelicans?
That's a low end pen.
They're low end.
Yeah, yeah. They do make some low end pens. Yeah, yeah, sure do.
Okay.
This is my favorite low-end pen. This is the Wingsung 66. It has a wonderful, soft, very soft steel nib, fine nib, writes very smooth. Beautiful, beautiful writer. This is my favorite writer.
And what's the name of it?
Wingsung 66.
Ah, Wingsung. Gotcha, gotcha. Okay.
George was next.
Yeah. Most of my pens are low-end, but this one is my favorite.
Okay, I think George was next.
Hey, oh yeah, Larry, I got an interesting one which you all can know about, and that's the varsity pen. And then what I like about the varsities is, even though they are disposable pens, you know, I go ahead and I take out the nib out, and I can refill them. And then
Okay.
I mean, it's the whole unit, you have to pull it out. But what I'll do with them, though, is something a little bit different. I want to share that with you all. And that is, there's a sleeve that Atoya makes. It's an aluminum sleeve.
Yeah.
And you can put the varsity in it, and it has a little cap that fits on it to make it fit. Or what comes with the Atoya is the blade. It's called the blade, which is also a disposable pen. And you put that in there, and you close it off, and it becomes much fancier pen that you can maybe take out someplace and not be embarrassed if you're embarrassed about varsities. You know,
Nice.
it has the cap that goes with it.
Yeah.
And so it becomes something that you can take out anywhere and still get along with everybody, even the fancy people.
George, do you have to put silicone grease anywhere when you refill the varsity?
I don't. I never did.
I'm totally going to try that.
Yeah, you have to kind of be careful when you pull them apart because you don't want to damage the. But there's some YouTube. There's some YouTube. I'm sure it's close to you. There's some YouTube. I guess how to do it videos, but you have to kind of if you put something soft and like a rubber thing, and then with maybe a pair of needle neck pliers or something, you can just ease it out.
A question real quick. What do you all think about the cross fountain pens? The lower ends under $50. Anybody have any comments for that?
Which model, Larry?
Like a Bailey.
Yeah, like a Bailey, or there's another one. There's Bailey and I forgot his name, but there we go again. That works like magic, don't it? Where am I? But we don't have any cross people here that like cross anyway. I like the low end cross pens. You do?
I have a Bailey and a Beverly, and I really like them.
Beverly, yeah.
Yeah, they write really well.
Yeah, I have some too. I was just wondering. Yeah, good pens. What I like about them is the lifetime warranty. I have sent in a few times to cross. I've had the pen 5-6 years and it just stopped writing. Bam, here comes a brand new one. Not a problem. So that was pretty cool. Okay, who would like to go next? Are you done, George? I'm sorry.
Sure, I'm done.
Okay, then let's go to Stan. Oh, you already went to Stan.
Yeah.
Mark. We don't have a Mark here. How about Mike? Because Mark already did his thing. Mike, and we're going to go back around again.
Okay. Well, I think I do like the Jinhao, the Mako fountain pens. I like those a lot. Those are one of my favorite pens to give away, to people, like to my kids or my grandkids, or when I'm at a pen show. Very often they'll be walking along, the family, and they'll be, mom and dad and a little kid, and of course the kid's going, "Oh, look at the pens!" And then, and if they're excited about pens, there's no way they're going to buy, one of the custom pens I've made, or some of the fancy vintage pens or whatever. Although you can get some good deals on vintage pens, but I usually have a box of the Jinhao Makos around, and I've played with them a little bit myself as well, and they're just amazing. I buy them. I know it's a really odd thing. I go to Amazon and buy them. You can buy a box of 12 for $18 or $19, $18.99. So they're under $2 each easily, they come in a lot of different colors, and I usually put like bright inks in them. They kind of match, not necessarily, but sometimes you can match, a red ink and a red pen or whatever. And the only problem I have is I keep hearing that Baby Shark song in my head when I have one of those out, And I promise did I mute myself? Okay, I'm fine. I thought I muted myself there, or someone muted me there. Okay, but I promise I won't sing the song, but I know it's already probably going through a few of your heads, but sorry. But in terms of pens I use myself, though, a lot, actually, I have a pen that I use a lot. I always have one around. It's in my backpack. It's on my desk. It's everywhere in my house. I buy them by the dozen, and they're everywhere. I have these Pilot G2s. I know it's not a fountain pen, but this is the pen. I've used this for decades, and it's always been my go-to pen when I just want to have a pen on my desk. And if somebody wants to borrow a pen, they get a G2. They don't get one of my fountain pens, you know. But and so I don't know. I'll shout out for the gels. The gels are a great choice for me. I really like the way these write. So there you go.
Mike, can I ask you a quick question? Have you ever
Yeah.
used the Uniball 207?
I've been through a lot of I used to use Uniballs a lot. I don't remember which model, but I used to use those a lot. And I've kind of, after a while, I gravitated to the Pilot G2. But yeah, there's a lot of good choices out there. Yes.
Yeah, but if you ever trying to find, you know, the G2 and you cannot find one, and there's a Uniball 207, go for that. Yeah.
Okay. I'll try it sometime. Okay.
Is that the right?
Next.
Okay, who's going to be next? Liz! You're on mute.
I know. I don't really have anything. The least expensive pen I have is the Pilot Knight or the Metropolitan, and also the Pilot Prera. And
Okay.
well, you know, unless you want to count the Esterbrook's, I have the old Esterbrook lever fill, like the dollar pens and the LJs.
Yeah.
I really like them.
That. The Metropolitan is good too. Yeah, oh, there you go. Troy has one down here. I have one too. That's a real nice color on that one. Yep. I think I have the green, blue. I could have a red. I'm not sure. They're great pens.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, I've got dozens of old Esterbrook's. They're great to have around.
Really great pens, and they have just nib options.
Galore.
Just unbelievable, unbelievable nib options. Yeah, easy to change out, easy to clean, easy to fill. I mean, they're a workhorse.
And you can find nibs for them pretty easy nowadays.
Yeah, not as easy as a few years ago, but yeah. Prices are kind of going up a little bit.
Are they?
For the nibs, yeah.
Let's go ahead and go to Troy real quick. Troy, if you wouldn't mind, elaborate on that Esterbrook some.
Yeah, well, this one here is an LJ. The LJ is their smaller model, and this is one that I had restored to give to somebody, and then I never saw that person again, probably never will again. So I just sort of held on to it. But yeah, they've got the swappable nibs in these, and that's one of the things I absolutely love is the plethora of nibs. If you go to esterbrook.net, and I believe that that Brian owns it from, oh, good grief. He and his wife own the pen shop up in...
No, not good.
No, Anderson. Yeah, Brian Anderson owns that website. And he's actually got a one page that shows you what every nib is. And I actually copied that information. I put it in my pen spreadsheet that I keep. So that way I can look real quick. And I've got dozens of nibs laying around. I actually have dozens of Esterbrook's, a bunch that I still need to restore. They're easy to restore. So if anybody wants to get into vintage pens, that's a great first step because they're plentiful. And once you learn how to restore a lever filler, and if you practice on a cheap one, I don't recommend starting, with a nice expensive lever filler, because you'll want to practice on something that you don't mind breaking, and you won't shed tears over. Trust me, I've done it. But Esterbrook's are great vintage pens to cut your teeth on if you ever want to learn how to repair them, play with them, and the proper way to use lever fillers. So they're out there. They're all over the place. You can get them for anywhere from $35, depending upon the seller, sometimes 45 or 50 bucks as an entry level. Dollar pens are starting to go a little more expensive, and you've got what I found with Esterbrook's, the broad nib is my favorite out of the bunch. So I've used this one, has a medium nib in it, and I've smoothed it out some to make it better than it was. I used to keep a desk pen in an old 8-ball here on my desk that was an Esterbrook for years. So they're well worth the investment if you ever want to try those. So, but Larry, you had mentioned Cross. You know,
Yeah.
these are
Yeah.
these are some of their lower ends, like a Bailey. Then you've got the Aventura, the Solo, the Calais, the Wanderlust. The Wanderlust is probably the more expensive out of this bunch here. But
And
all
the
these,
prettiest.
yeah, it is, I think.
Mhm.
And so all of these are fairly inexpensive. The Baileys I've been able to find online from Etsy sellers from anywhere from $17 on up. So if you're looking at gifting somebody an entry-level fountain pen, I almost always pick up between 17 to 20 bucks or so. And they make great little gifts for somebody that you want to give them something more than just a Jinhao. So they're well worth keeping around just for that purpose. But you were asking about the low end pens. So my favorites. I think one of the best pens that Jinhao's come out with over the past decade or so is the Jinhao 80. I think that, it should look awful familiar, like a Lamy 2000 to a lot of people. But I think their Jinhao 80 is perhaps one of their better pens they've come out with in a long time. Wingsung 3008 is a great pen, but I found on wish.com, I've been finding these ones here, which are a knockoff, or they may even be Wingsung. They're just unbranded. There's absolutely no branding on this pen whatsoever for $1. And I've given away a lot of these, and I've bought a bunch more that I have here for giveaway. This one I inked up just today. I put some Colorverse Cat ink in it because it's green. So this is what I'm going to be carrying for a giveaway pen. And I even used it today to write to a pen pal. They usually come with either fine or extra fine nibs. The fine nib, as much as I dislike fine nibs, it actually does fairly well. So for $1 plus shipping, and then I bought a bunch of them together, so it cut down on the shipping as a bunch to get to me. So these are great for giveaways. Jinhao 82 is not bad. I kind of like those. That's one of their newer models that they've come out with as well. And it kind of looks like a Sailor Pro Gear, I think is what that's pretty much a knockoff of Wankai Mini. That believe it or not, that's a little eyedropper that's empty now. I burned through all of that finally. But what I did was I swapped out that little fine nib that it came with, and I put a 1.1 stub nib on it. And it is as much as I don't like pocket pens on something like this for like $10, $12, somewhere in there, probably under 20 by now, depending upon where you get them. But this one screws onto the back, and that actually is a good enough to hold it. The reason I like this one so much is because with that 1.1 stub, I think my handwriting looks the best out of any pen I own. Believe it or not, with this little tiny Wankai Mini with a 1.1 replacement stub.
Troy, did they used to call those lipstick pens?
Could be, I guess. All I know is that Wankai Mini is all I knew this as. So and then one of my all-time favorites for a low-end pen, you've probably heard of TWSBI Go. Pelican came out with a pen called the Go long before TWSBI, and it's a piston filler. It's a low-end, 25 bucks or so. You can still find them. They don't still make them, but you can still find them. So this is probably one of the best values. Because you were mentioning, low-end Pelican. Can we talk about Pelicans? Yeah, sure. So I figured I'll whip this one out too, since someone mentioned Pelicans. The Pelican Go, great value, 25 to 30 bucks. And I've got a couple of them, and it's one of the best low-end piston fillers out there on the market that you can still find. So, that's me. I didn't want to take up too much time, guys.
No, you're fine. So what size nib on that?
This one's got a medium on it, a medium, and I think it's, it's got almost a Lamy style nib on it.
Yeah. Have you tried taking out the nib?
Nah, I wasn't going to bother playing with it to see. I wasn't that curious about it because it wrote well enough as it was. Yeah. It was smooth. It was reliable, held a decent amount of ink. So yeah, I wasn't about to tinker with it just to see what I could do with it. I'm not that curious.
Okay. Hey, Will, how's it going?
Hey guys, doing great.
We're
How's
coming to you in a minute, Linus. Get ready,
everybody?
Miss Pelican. That should
Pardon me,
bring all the high
Larry?
end out. Yeah. Yeah, go
What
ahead. We're talking about low end pens.
Oh, low end or real low end?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. 99 cents.
Well, I got an FPR here. It's a lovely pen. When I first bought it, you know, this is a brand new computer or laptop, and it took me 20 minutes to get on this Zoom, and I apologize for being late. But anyway, this is an FPR pen, and it's not a high dollar pen. It does have a plastic feed, and when I first bought it, I had ordered one of those Ultra Flex nibs, and it worked pretty good with this plastic feed. But after about a paragraph, it kind of started getting starved. So I put this Goulet, and Troy mentioned this, a 1.1 stub nib, and I eyedroppered this thing with some Diamine Bilberry ink. And this thing is amazing. You talking about, Troy said something about that 1.1 improving his handwriting, or I find that you can express yourself with a 1.1 pretty good. So this eyedropper is low end pen. It's great. It's a go-to pen. It can sit 3 or 4 days. I pick it up and it goes. And low end pen, it works great. 1.1 nib for your writing. Love it.
Will, I
That's what
agree.
I got.
Will, I agree with you that I think a 1.1 stub that's wet is like semi-flex for people who can't flex. You get a lot of line variation, particularly on when you're going from low left to right, and it looks like a semi-flex pen, but you don't have to worry about it springing back or railroading or any of that stuff. I'm a huge fan of a wet 1.1 stub.
I'm a fan of stubs.
And he's back. How did the tornado go in your area, Frank?
Oh, it's still storming, but the sirens have stopped, and I don't know. We'll see. If I disappear again, you know I was blown away.
Yes. Where's Atlantis at?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. You're hiding? There she is. Okay. Okay, let's go ahead and go to Miss Lannis right now. She's going to tell you all about her pelican. As you see it fly by. Go ahead.
You know what? One of the best low end pens that I really have ever used is the Pilot Metro, and I think Liz mentioned that. But when I was commuting to downtown pre-COVID and all of that, I'd get downtown nice and early, and I'd go to a cafeteria near my office, and I'd sit and I'd write all my pen pals, and I'd use Pilot Metro, and I would take a small bottle of Demon ink, and I would just keep filling it up and doing my thing. And I really like that. Recently, and I've never had one until, I don't know, about 6 months ago, I got myself a TWSBI or two, and I don't know what I would have paid for them, but I'm gathering that they're fairly, at the lower end, I think. I don't know. Anyway, I was surprised at how well they really write, but you know what? I mostly sit down and write, and I look in my Pelican pen case, and I choose a Pelican that catches my fancy in the color that I feel like using at any given time. So that's what I do.
I'm just doing some notes here real quick. All right. So let's move into a mid-range pen. Let's say 80 to 150 or 80 to 300, because we're going to go a little bit higher after that. Who would like to start that one off? All right, Mike.
Well,
Would you start that? Hold on. Will, did you want to start it? No?
I'm sorry, I was muted.
Okay. Mike, would you like to start a higher end pen?
Mike, you're muted.
There I am. There you go. Sorry about that.
I'll jump in here.
Go ahead, Will.
A mid-range pen, for me, I think would be vintage. It's a Parker 51 in dove gray. It's a great pen. It's an aerometric filler, which is simple. It's not a vacuumatic or anything. It's built for people like me. You just push the button and it fills up. So, but I think a good main or mid-range pen for me would be a vintage. Here recently, I've been looking at vintage pens, or actually this past year have purchased a couple. And for me, I think if you want to spend money on a good mid-range pen, look toward vintage. That's my idea on it.
All right. How about you, Mark?
That Mike or Mark?
Mark.
In the $80 to about $300 range, I would have a couple. For the low end of that, I don't know if you can see it. This is an Opus 88. I forget which one this is. It's you know, your basic demonstrator pen, got a steel nib, and
It's an Omar.
The Omar, I think. Omar.
Yeah, this is an Omar. And I ordered this from Kirk Spear at Pen Realm. I think I have $110 in it with him grinding it to a cursive italic. It is my dedicated Bay State Blue Evil liquid pen. It writes like a freaking dream. It's like, you know, really smooth. I mean, it's basically a stub that calls itself
How do you know?
italic. And it's just fabulous. And I would recommend anybody pick up one of these Opus 88s if they want an eyedropper, particularly something obnoxious like Bay State Blue, because it's just, you know, just a great pen. It's very comfortable. It's light to be as big as it is. I mean, hell, it's almost as big as a Custom Marucci, and Custom Marucci is a big boy. But it's just a great writing pen. It's got the nibs a little soft, and I'm going to get more of them.
Hey, Mark, let me ask you a quick question.
Sure.
How much staining did you get from the Blue State Blue?
A fair bit, but you know, I got this first pen with the intention of making it a dedicated Bay State Blue pen. So it doesn't matter to me if it stains it, because, you know, I was tired of putting Bay State Blue in Twisbees and having it eat the guts out of the Twisbees and then leak everywhere. So really like this Opus 88 pen. And you know, I'm not much of a mid-range pen guy.
Is the staining pretty uniform or not?
Actually, I don't know if you can see, it's pretty like, you know, all the ink level's about right here, and it's pretty stained here. So, you know, that's I think that's just Bay State Blue acting like Bay State Blue, which is, you know, which is fine. I knew that going into it. And if you want to get around the $300 mark, I think the Pilot 823 is Godzilla. I think it's very difficult to compete. You know, I think I got most of mine. They were about $270 when I got them. And they have a great nib. It's really soft. It holds just a ton of ink because it's a vac filler. The only downside, of course, is you void your warranty if you take it apart to clean it. And I've taken all mine apart and hadn't had a problem. So I don't really think it's that big of a downside, but you know, some people get freaked by that. But you know, I think the 823 bumping up against 300 is just about as good as it gets for me.
Mark, who makes Bay State Blue?
Noodlers.
Yeah, the infamous Bay State Blue, eh?
Yeah, it's the monosodium glutamate stockings and fishnets of ink.
I think you should send me a sample.
I'll be glad to. You'll probably eat through the damn pile, but I'll be glad to send it to you.
Real quick, welcome, Joe. We didn't even know you're here till Liz told me you're on, and I can't even find you. But there he is in all his glory right there. So, Joe, so what we're doing, you missed the first half of it. We were first talking about a low-end pen that you enjoy using, and then we went to like a mid-range level. So you can start with the low and go all the way up there. How's
Well,
that?
I was thinking about making a statement that would probably get me beat up in this group. I was going to make joke around that there's no such thing as a pen under $1,000 that writes good, but it was just a joke, guys. It was actually a time I was almost convinced there was no pen 1,000 or over that wrote well. I can't tell you how many I had to send to Mike Marciano to be straightened out. At that price, it's a joke. But from the real cheap, I mean, I don't really use cheap pens just because it's not how I collected. But I was thoroughly surprised by the Lamy Safari. It may not be as low end of pens you're talking about, but wonderful pen, wrote well. I just assumed, you know, and I was wrong. It was a really well made pen for something in the $100, $200 range. I have to go with the Platinum, the 3776 Century pen, because for that price range, you can get yourself a solid gold nib. 14 karat gold, and I still like those nibs. So that would be my choice. My overall favorite writer of even within that bracket is still the Sailor Pro Gear, the 21K EF nib. That is my all-time favorite nib. I still, matter of fact, I was writing with this as you guys were talking, working on some different models for a capital S. But yeah, it doesn't. I mean, I'm just pleasantly surprised. I never assumed that the more expensive pens wrote better. You know, my sense of collecting was, if I'm going to spend my money, I want a gold nib to write with. That's why I did that. Does it write better than a steel or a titanium? Absolutely not. You know, when
Not a
people
chance.
people ask me how does like a custom pen with the Yovo nib or a Bach nib, how's it write? It's kind of hard to answer that. It's a stock nib, Yovo, and if I have a problem with it, I send it to someone like Mike or you know, and pay a few bucks and have the nib tuned up and straightened out. But I don't really put that much emphasis on the, let's say, cost of the pen, but I just never collected in the lower end range. But I did buy that pen from Aiden. I think you guys know I bought that, what was it? Was a Schaefer Vacuumatic, or Parker Vacuumatic. I'm sorry, I don't want to get myself beat up again. But I don't use like a Vacuumatic. I actually unscrewed the entire thing. This is an eyedropper. And who brought up the huge pen just now that you like with the Space Day blue in it? Was that you?
That was me.
Yeah. So I don't know if you guys seen, but Aziza showed that you could actually take that pen, I think the Opus one, pull the nib straight out and then put the Pilot Parallel broad nibs into it, and you get this huge broad edge pen that, you know, depending upon the Pilot nib, it's I got a few of them actually. Occasionally I do broad pen work, but mainly not. So that's my 2 cents. I love the Platinum. I got tons of Platinum 3776 Centuries, and for the money, just to get yourself into the 14 karat gold nib mark, it's a pretty reasonable pen. But overall, regardless of the pen I've owned, regardless of price range, Sailor Pro Gear, full size Pro Gear is my absolute favorite.
How much did you say you're paying your 370.76 for? You're buying them for?
Oh, you can, if you're willing to buy them from Japan, you can get them probably for under 150 bucks, maybe even cheaper than that. The problem, Lannis, as you can imagine, if the pen doesn't write well, now you're dealing with a company in Japan, someone in Japan. And so I exercise a lot of caution before I went for the price versus paying a little more and getting it from a company here that can tune the pen if there's a problem. It doesn't cost that much. I think the most I've ever paid for a nib tuning was like 50 bucks, if that, for Mike Marciano. But I think you just have to be cautious about buying stuff on eBay and out of the country. If it shows up and it doesn't write well. You know, it happened to me with the Sailor Pro Gear, believe it or not. The one that has the metal grip section. I think it's a chest pen. It was real scratchy. It's first time ever. And I sent it to Mike. I says, Mike, what the heck happened to this? I wasn't going to send it back. They were willing to give me a refund or another pen, but I was just curious. The first time it ever happened to me. He says what he thinks happened is with Sailor nibs, you pull them out, And so if you buy it, when you buy one with an EF, it's got a medium, they'll pull it out and put the EF section in, you know, with a nib. The problem is, according to Mike, the nib needs to be retuned every time you replace a nib. And so he did that, and I've had no problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't pay that kind of money for my 3776, but of course,
Yes.
I'm in Canada too, so we have a little dollar price difference here.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was speaking in terms of USD. Yeah.
Okay, my favorite mid-range pen is this Franken pen. This is Ranga 8B body.
Yeah.
This is how I ordered it, and then I bought this titanium Magna Carta nib with an ebonite feed, an ebonite
Nice.
color. It's a buck nib. The nib needed a little work, but after I did that work, it's a wonderful writer. It's one of my best writers, if not the best writers.
If you have somebody who knows how to tune a pen and work on any pen, as long as the feed can be adapted to the underside of the nib, and that's what you'll see these guys do. Masayama hangs his little nib units into hot water and lets them sit there, so the ebonite, you know, conforms to the underside of the nib.
Yeah. No, I just need to smooth the nib.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The
I
nib could work
I used to do that. I used to do that stand. I don't do it anymore. It cost me a lot of money. I screwed up a Nakaya dorsal too. I got from Singapore. So just to send it back to them it was
you gotta check often.
Yeah.
Stan, is that an ebonite body?
Yes.
Looks like ebonite ripple.
Yes.
It's
It's
very
a
attractive.
blue ripple with a honey ripple with on a blue body. Yes, it's an ebonite pen. It's fully ebonite pen. Yes.
Yeah, we had one custom manufacturer on here, Larry. I forget which pen maker it was, but he was talking about how the sulfur smell of you know, ebonite from India or elsewhere has a higher sulfur smell. And I asked the question, does it mean it's not as good? And I never received. I don't think it means that, but you know, it's something they've observed. So I don't know.
It doesn't smell that bad.
Speaking
when they're machining it, Stan.
Oh, okay.
Speaking as a duck hunter, the most coveted duck calls are old ebonite hard rubber calls. And one of the ways you tell that you're not getting ripped off is to rub it really hard. And if it smells like sulfur or camphor, you've got the real thing.
I think the what do you call the celluloid pens smell like camphor, don't they? Or is it naphtha? I can't remember, but they do have a solvent smell if it's young enough. It's not matured enough.
You know, Mark, now that you mention it, my dad had a bunch of duck calls that I thought they were made of Bakelite, but now that you mention it, they may have been old ebonite duck calls.
Yeah, it's either ebonite or hard rubber, because that would be an old, and old actually never made Bakelite calls.
Interesting.
Believe me, I've sunk a ton of money in those things.
So, Mike, I have no idea what you're saying.
Oh, I said the wrong thing then. Sorry.
Okay. So anyway, has everybody had their chance to speak on that for a bit, so we can move on to ballpoints?
What about Yo?
Me?
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Me?
No.
You?
No. There's
He's still here.
Yeah, he already.
Yeah, I discussed my low end. My high end actually is I was gifted this Voltare, this Mont Blanc Voltare by a friend of mine who's retired. He just retired as a administrator from the local hospital here where I live in Oregon. And I'm really loving this pen. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Okay.
What is it?
It's a Mont Blanc Voltare.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You did say that. My apologies.
Yeah. It's just the smoothest pen I got, you know, and writing pen I got, and just really loving it. You know, and I didn't know how much. I said, I wonder how much this costs, and I looked it up. I was like, wow. So yeah, that's probably becoming my favorite pen.
All right, then let's go ahead and pick up on the ballpoint pens, gel, and rollerball. Any people that uses these pens periodically or a lot or have no need for them?
Larry, you haven't told us what your favorite pens are or what low end favorite pens you have.
All of them. All of them.
We want to hear from you too.
No, you don't. I just like all of them. I can't do that. It just see, here's all my pens right there. There. Okay.
And it's really true, because every now and then I'll ask him what he really likes the best, and it's a different pen every time.
How about Jake? Does Jake have some?
Oh, well.
Jake.
Let's see here.
Jake doesn't
Pens that he never uses. Let me say.
I'm a collector, not a user.
Yeah, he's a hoarder and he doesn't use them. Yeah.
Okay, this one. Get it right there. This is a Luoshi Elements pen. This is the water version. I was able to get 2 of them before they all got sold out. But I really like the integrated colors on it. It has the darker blue and the lighter blue mixed together. That's probably my current favorite.
To look at. Okay.
To look at, yes.
All right. Anything else you'd like to say, Mr. Announcer?
Well, we do have news to announce if you want to do that.
What kind of news?
Special news for one person.
Not yet at 7 o'clock.
Oh, you didn't say that earlier.
Well, you didn't ask. So there.
Hey, it's 7:46.
Oh, we haven't.
Celsius?
No cheating.
Celsius?
Yeah, cheating. Okay, let's move on to ballpoint pens and gel pens and rollerballs. Anybody take it.
Okay, I want to say that I work in the diamond trade, and a lot of us who work, period, fountain pens and the paper that we're issued and inks and stuff like that just don't cut it at work. And I have a Mont Blanc Princess Grace of Monaco ballpoint pen that I use absolutely every single day. And I don't use any of the office issue from Staples or any of the office stores kind of thing. And every time one of the guys has to come in and sign for something from me, he picks it up and because it has a fair amount of heft, he says, man, this is a really nice pen. And of course, this guy makes probably, 3 or 4 times more than I do, could afford something like that. But, they just would never do something like that. But I have great joy out of using my Mont Blanc ballpoint every single day at work.
Okay. Who would like to be next? Dun, 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 dun. I'm going to go to Liz. Do you use ballpoint?
Troy's showing something there.
Oh, Troy? Let's do Troy.
All right. I've got, since we're talking about ballpoints, this is my favorite ballpoint only because of Bugs Bunny.
It's got Bugs Bunny, eh?
Right.
Do you have a pen that has the Roadrunner on it too?
I do not. Kind of wish I did though. But believe it or not, I found this just laying in a parking lot. So I picked it up, brought it home, and I've had to put a different refill in it, so it actually works a whole lot better with the refill that I put in it. I don't even know what brand it is. It doesn't even have any branding on it, but it does say Warner Brothers on it from the 1990s. So for ballpoint, that's one of my favorites, and I keep it here on my desk. For a roller ball, probably my favorite is a Waterman Karen in a roller ball. I've got a couple of roller balls. I've got one is a custom made one by some guy who used to sell them. I've got another one that's a little Parker Vector rollerball that does okay. But I think probably the one that I go to when I want to use a rollerball or ballpoint the most is probably this one right here, the Waterman Karen. I enjoy their fountain pen. I think the Waterman Karen is a great writer in a fountain. And when I found this at a fantastic price, I snatched that up. So the rollerball for me, that does it right there for me is for a good writing rollerball and a good feeling one in the hand with a lot of heft to it.
Troy, on that Warner Brothers one, did you have to like polish it up? Was it scratched up and everything, or?
It had a few little scuffs. It wasn't too bad. I mean, I put it this way: I found it in the parking lot of a company that was part of the Warner Media Group, and so it would make sense that I would find a Warner Brothers
Yeah, for sure.
pen in the parking lot. So, but. And I got a blue ink in this one, and that's one of the reasons why it's like the only one I keep inked up with a blue, and the rollerball I keep inked up with black. So I've got both colors and available because there are just some things you can't write on very well with a fountain pen.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember my wife found some time ago a card that I'd given her while we were dating. And it literally said in there, I don't think my fountain pen is liking this card real well because it wasn't writing real well on the card because of the card stock and the coating on the card. And that's back when all I had was like a Waterman Filius for a fountain pen. So go figure.
By the way, Troy, I shipped off a small package to your household on Monday.
Very good. We'll be looking forward. I appreciate that. I mean, and we just got a package here just recently from Mr. Green. And
yes, I recognize that pen holder.
Yep. As soon as I saw that, I said, I got a couple of those as it is laying around. So Matthew and I earlier were talking about doing our giraffe battle video tonight. And then of course we have to have drama around the house with having 2 boys in the house. And then finally I just said, you know what, I've had enough drama. It's, Larry's got his call in about 5 minutes. So that was about an hour ago. I said, forget y'all, I'm out of here. I'm going to de-stress for a little bit and talk about some pens.
I might hold off on that video of the giraffe pens.
Hey, Larry.
I hear you.
Hey, Larry. Hey, Larry.
Yeah.
Can we do a go around the horn here and find out where everybody's from?
Yeah, we're fixing to do that in a minute.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
So who did we leave off with right now? Was it Troy? Were you the last person? Okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that now. And then we'll come back and we'll start with Stan. So Stan, we'll start with you to introduce yourself and where you're from.
I am Stan and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
All right. Next. Mark.
I am Mark Edwards. I am from Pascagoula / Biloxi, Mississippi on the Gulf Coast.
Mike.
Okay, my name's Mike Green. I live in Delano, Minnesota. It's near Minneapolis.
Yo.
I'm Yochanan Israel. I live in Gold Beach, Oregon.
Where do you live, Yo?
Gold Beach, Oregon.
Troy.
Hey, I'm Troy LaPlante. I live in the booming metropolis of Selma, North Carolina.
And George.
I'm George Sifri, and I live outside Sacramento, California.
And Lannis.
I'm Lannis, and I live in the Great Wide North. In other words, I live in Canada, Mississauga, but it's really kind of connected to Toronto. And I've been collecting fountain pens for a lot of years. And I'm just adding that as a side note since we're here.
All right. Doc.
Joe Vitolo, Augusta, Georgia. hailing from Northeast, though, originally from Hoboken, New Jersey.
Mr.
Noise.
Announcer,
Oh, well, I'm Jack Harper, and I'm here in Fort Worth, Texas.
and then for, I guess he had to go.
Frank Overman
Yeah.
is our relative neighbor over in Arlington, Texas.
Have anybody been missed on here yet?
We need Will and Liz.
Okay, Will next.
Well, speaking of booming metropolises, I live about 80 miles north of Houston, or northeast in Cleveland, Texas. And it's just a lovely spot.
Yeah, Will,
Never would have guessed
Pardon
Texas
me?
with the accent. All right.
Pardon me, Troy?
Liberty.
Never would have guessed Texas with that accent, right?
Yeah, I pretty much can't go anywhere, and everybody knows where I'm from. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like we can tell that Joe's not from
Yep.
Georgia.
Within one sentence, I get, where are you from, boy? And I usually tell them Alabama.
We call Alabama Leonard Skinner, and of course Larry would know all of that.
Leonard Skinner's from Jacksonville, Florida.
Florida, that's right.
Right.
Okay, and that leaves Liz. Please identify.
Liz, I live in the Pacific Northwest in Washington State. And born and raised in New Jersey. Moved to California. Now I'm in Washington.
All right. So now who's going to take it from here next now? Was that, what did I say? Stan?
We've done, no, yeah, I think so.
So have we covered rollerballs, gel pens, enough, ballpoints? Has everybody had a shot at it? If you do, you can go ahead and speak now. If not, we can bypass it.
I use Pilot G2, extra dark, whatever they call that, 0.7 gel pens at work because that's what the office manager likes. So that's what I get. So if I'm not using a fountain pen, that's what I use.
I prefer a gel pen myself. I like the way they write. There are some of the rollerballs I do like, but gel probably is my best bet. And that would probably be on my quarters, those ones. Is it a Parker mic? On those refills, remember?
Oh, I'm thinking those are, I'm not the ones I put in are usually, I think, geez, I hate to be on the spot. I don't remember who made those gels off the top of my head. Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, so that's where I come from. Anybody else like to say anything about that?
My rollerball I use a lot at work is the Mont Blanc Bohème. I like that because it's a small size. I prefer a little smaller pens. And for the ballpoint, hands down, the Fisher Space Pen. I've been a fan of that since I was a boy. And I've got one that, you click it on the top and you reset it on the side of the pen. Pressurized cartridge, always writes no matter which position it's in, but it came from my love of the space program from when I was a boy. So I've used it. I still got two of them in my office. One of which was given to me by a buddy of mine, who's an engineer at JPL, and so yeah, definitely that.
Anybody else?
Mark, I use those G2s also. I switched to them a couple years ago. Normally, I was just using the black Bic stick pens, but I use a lot of sticky notes, and there's some of those surfaces they just won't write on. But that G2 does it on all of them, so I switched over to those.